Vanshika, Priyanka, Bhavishya, and Aalap. Thank you for joining us today on such a short notice. मुझे नहीं लगा था that we'd be able to do this webinar at such a short notice. We have been able to get in touch with everybody and been able to organize this. In fact, just to share a good news with you, with all of you, any of the participants who are missing today's session, we are going to put this session, a recorded session, on our YouTube channel. And if Alap is comfortable sharing his presentation, we can do that also. And Bhavishya's presentation, if you guys have any, we'll share that also through our mailer to all the subscribers that we have on Voice of CA. And most of our members who missed the session, because since we have kept it 5 to 6 on a Friday evening, and since all of our members are very occupied with the election result coming by most probably by tomorrow. So I'm hoping that a lot of members are going to watch this video on YouTube and would take the benefit of your presentations through our mailers. So to tell everyone a little bit about Voice of CA. Voice of CA is an NGO founded in 2009 by CA Sanjay Agarwal along with his colleagues and friends with a view that हमारे members को professional updates नहीं मिलते. So this started with that noble thought of giving updates. We have been continuing those professional updates with our weekly mailers, and we are now doing them real time also through our social media. We have had other initiatives as per our members' recommendations, like we have our audit query group on WhatsApp, we have a job vacancy group on Facebook, we send job vacancies of various companies through our mailers. There are other holistic well-being initiatives also that Voice of C has been doing other than the professional initiatives. For example, we have been doing health checkup camps and um, uh, other mental health awareness programs, meditation program, and we are planning another program in the upcoming days around the same thought of holistic well-being of our members. So yes, and in the last 2 months, we have had organized a lot of seminars and webinars around foreign opportunities for Indian chartered accountants. And we have done quite a few seminars on Australian opportunities where we have given an overview of the work that is available over there and how somebody can maybe do it in the offshoring model. And this webinar is in the continuation where we are giving an overview to our members of how they can procure a new or an additional educational degree which is going to help them maybe make maybe establish more market in that country. So yes, to continue this, I'll quickly introduce Bhavishya, and if that's okay, should I introduce Alap also in the same?
Absolutely.
In the same. Okay, okay. That works out well. That works out well. I'll quickly introduce you both and then over to both of you to take the session forward. Bhavishya is a seasoned professional with 14 years of diverse experience in the education and skilling ecosystem spanning global and national organizations. He has worked with renowned institutions such as Pearson Education USA, where he contributed as a trainer and quality auditor, and City and Guilds, a leading UK awarding body. At Manipal University, Bhavishya played a pivotal role in advancing corporate education initiatives. He has also worked with Ministry of Rural Development as a standards and quality expert on a flagship project aimed at training and skilling 2 million youth across India. Earlier in his career, he has worked on the project with the Indian Army, serving as a trainer to enhance capabilities within the forces. Currently, Bhavishya leads CPA Australia's partnership and stakeholder relationships in India, fostering impactful collaborations with corporates and universities. His role also focuses on driving member growth, creating value for CPA members, and strengthening pathways to global accounting excellence. Bhavishya holds a degree in economics, a postgraduate diploma in management from IMT Ghaziabad, and is Six Sigma Green Belt certified. That's wow, Bhavishya. And to give you and to give a little bit of uh, additional knowledge to our members today, Bhavishya has been the key member of getting the MRA with CPA Australia, between ICI and CPA Australia. That is a lesser known
So,
fact about Bhavishya.
so I'll just correct Neha. So the MRA was signed somewhere in 2008, 2009. So
Okay.
yeah, so I wasn't there that time, but all our experts were there. And I mean, the kind of bond or the relationship that both the bodies, both the most reputed bodies in the world right now share is I mean, it's unparalleled. It's totally unparalleled.
Absolutely. Thank you, Bhavishya. To tell you a little bit about Aalap Chhatrapati, he's a full CPA Australia member. He has lived and worked in Australia to close to 20 years. His professional career has seen himself working in senior roles with the Australian government in accounting, auditing, finance, risk and intelligence sectors in the field of tax administration, corporate and financial industry regulation, AML and organized crime prevention and control. Since 2015, Alap has been providing tuition assistance for global strategy and leadership of the CPA program. He is currently CEO of a leading hospitality amenities manufacturing company which services India, Middle East, and APEC. Since moving back to India in 2022, Alap has been involved in promoting CPA Australia brand across India with CPA Australia's India liaison team in New Delhi. And I hope a lot of your members has joined us today as well. He has traveled to various cities across India with CPA Australia's licensed team and conducted various member engagement sessions, workshops, and has been keynote speaker at GloPack in 2023. Alap has also convened sessions with the CPA Australia recognized employers like Be Free and QX Global promoting the CPA Australia program to their employees. During the sessions, he has provided his first-hand experience on how CPA qualification has helped him shape his career and insights of the global strategy and leadership subject of the CPA program. I welcome you, Alap, on Voice of CA's platform. And thank you both again and the entire team for making this possible for our members.
Thank you for having me.
Over to you both to take the technical session forward.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Neha. Alap, would you like to say something before we start?
Look, thanks for having me and thanks for the invite. I'm glad I could make it. There were some serious doubts that I was able to make it, considering I had a medical emergency with my mother and she was in hospital. But with God's grace, I'm here and I'm looking forward to a really very engaging session. I'm going to provide some insights on the subject itself and also how it has helped shape my career and put me in the seat that I'm in today. So, but we'll start off with you, Bhavishya, and then I'll take over.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Alap. Thank you so much, Neha. That was a very elaborate introduction we have never heard in our lives. I have never heard. I'm sure Alap must have heard that an elaborative introduction at various events. But thank you so much, everyone. I think almost 55-60% attendance I could see in terms of the overall registrations that around we have received. Thank you so much, Rishabh. Once again, I mean, just having a one quick online meeting and today, look where we are. So I think it's the seriousness about the profession and the value that you as Voice of CA want to bring to your members really matters. So thank you so much. So what I'll do without wasting much time, very warm welcome to each and everyone attending the session today. I can say a very warm welcome because we are based out of Delhi and it's quite chilly here. You can see I'm wearing a blazer and inside pullover. So it's quite chilly in here. So once again, thank you so much. Let me just start by sharing the presentation. So just wanted to clarify one thing, Neha. How are we going to take the questions? Is it like they are going to write or you will allow them to speak?
So both ways are possible, and whenever you open the floor for Q&A, the members can put it in the Q&A section, and one of your members, Vanchika or Priyanka, can read them out to you, or I can read them out to you. If the members raise their hand in the participant section, we'll promote them to the panelist section so that they can speak and ask their query.
Sure. All right. Done. Thank you so much. So, since it's a session, generally we call it a Become CPA Australia session, and we conduct such sessions with various level of employees in the organizations, various level of professionals, rather I would say. And today, since we are doing a session for the CA fraternity of India, so we will keep our session very specific to CAs and how you can attain a CPA designation. So just to give you a brief idea, we, as I have mentioned earlier as well, that we signed our MRA with the ICI somewhere in 2008, 2009. Both the experts, the experts from both the bodies sat together and found out that both the qualifications are quite complementing to each other. Hence, I do not want to spill the beans immediately in the start of my session itself, but I will share the insights over the course of my presentation. So without wasting much time, let me just share the presentation. Let me know if it's in a slide mode or just I mean,
It's now it's in the slide.
great. All right, so become a CPA and impact tomorrow with a competitive advantage in your field. So what we are going to cover today is about CPA Australia. A lot of you joining today, probably in the past must have attended the session. And I also heard Neha sharing about how they have, spread the awareness about the outsourcing work and how they can reach out to the clients. And somewhere today I can feel that the knowledge that we are going to share with you, somewhere it intertwined with the information that has been shared by the VOCA team. So we will share about the CPO Australia, our global network of corporates, our global network of members. So when I say corporates, uh, CPO Australia has a recognized employer partner program. So we onboard organizations as our recognized employer partners with two or three important parameters that they have in their mind. One is obviously, training the in-house employees itself, then creating a pipeline for the future finance or accounting professionals. And most importantly, then we will delve into ICI and CPA Australia mutual recognition pathway. Uh, what are the documents required? And finally, Q&A session that will be facilitated by Vanshika. So about CPA Australia, I hope my slide is getting changed. You can see a map, right? Okay. Yeah. So you can see that, we have around 20 plus offices, quarter to 2 lakh members spread across the globe who are representing CPA Australia in more than 100 countries. That shows the power or the worth of the recognition of this professional accounting designation. The interesting part is that out of these quarter to 2 lakh members, one fifth or one sixth of our members are currently leading the organizations. They are leading various functions, various domains in the organizations. And that's where I think the power of CPA Australia comes in. Around 10-15 years back, the experts from the organizations have realized that, uh, you know, very technical, kind of moved away from very technical accounting kind of a qualification. And if you look at overall CPA Australia program, it focuses more on business strategy and leadership. The program is filled with case studies, recent case studies, as recent as how the organizations have steered out through the challenges in COVID. So that's the power of the qualification in itself. Why CPA designation? Numerous reasons, but some of the reasons that we, top five reasons that we could identify was global recognition. You already hold a very highly reputed institute's qualification, which is being a chartered accountant. And CPA Australia provides you a complementing global recognition designation in itself. Leadership potential. Over a course of my presentation, you will understand the kind of program that you will go through and how it can enhances your own leadership skills, potentials, strategy skills, potentials. Industry updates. I'm sure you must be getting a lot of industry updates from the institute itself. Similarly, CPA Australia provides its member a global industry updates, what's happening in finance industry, accounting industry, networking opportunity. And this is something that I always say while I'm presenting about CPA Australia, that your network defines your net worth. And this is what we thrive on. We present an opportunity to our members in terms of connecting with right set of leaders in the industry. And not only that, so as a part of our important function, we conduct a lot of networking events, not only in India, but all across the globe. And being a member of CPA Australia, even if we are having any any event in Australia, you can be a part of that event as well, being a member of CPA Australia. Lifelong learning. So apart from having a flagship program of CPA Australia, there is also, continuous professional development modules that we offer, around 200 to 250, and as recent as, like, ESG reporting, environment, sustainable and governance reporting. That is also a kind of a micro credentials that we have seen have been picked up by various organizations in India. Various education institutes are also looking at, giving an overview or training their students on ESG reporting. So that is also, and with micro credentials, you also get a digital badge that you can showcase on your professional profiles as well. Some of the important distinctive features that CPA Australia program has. Number one is, as you can see, it's an open book and computer-based exam. The examination that you are going to write, it's an open book exam. You can give the exam from any nearby testing center. We generally have a testing centers in the vicinity of, I think, 100 to 150 kilometers. We have around 20-25 testing centers in India. So you can choose any of the nearby testing center depending on your own date, time slot, and place. Many of our members finish their CPA studies within 1.5 to 2 years. There is a slight correction when it comes to chartered accountants. So this is 1.5 to 2 years is basically for those members we have seen who are not CAs, who are looking at completing the full program, right? So it takes around 2 years to complete the full program. But when it comes to Indian chartered accountants, basis on our past experience, we have seen that the Indian CAs are able to complete this program within a span of 5 to 6 months itself. And right now, even if you start your journey with CPA Australia today, you would be able to complete this program, I believe, by May or June itself next year, June 25. Choice of studying tax and audit. So this is an additional subject that CPA offers. So a lot of people we have seen that want to learn about how does taxation work in Australia. So CPA Australia offers Australia taxation as one of the subjects that you can, additionally, you can, in order to learn about the Australia taxation, you can enroll in that subject, you can learn that skill, you can gain the certificate in Australia taxation, and that somewhere also helps when you are going in the market and you are meeting the clients. It somewhere builds your trust and credibility with the client itself. We have one of the highest exam passing rates. So we always say this: entering into CPA program is not easy, but this is not for chartered accountants. But for people who are not CAs, entering into CPA program is not easy. But once you are fully committed towards it, you can see the highest high pass exam passing rate. So globally, we have around 75 to 80% of passing rate. And in India, we have seen 65 to 70% of the Indian CAs enrolling for the subject generally clears the examination. And you have an opportunity to hold the dual qualification. Some of our recognized employer partners globally that we have all Big Four, Big Five. In India, soon we are going to onboard some of the Big Fours as our recognized employer partners. Johnson Control is in Pune. Uh, One of the best organizations that we are working with when it comes to upskilling their employees. So a lot of organizations that we have onboarded, they also sponsor their employees to pursue CPA program. So BeFree is one of the organizations which has a lot of business interest in Australia. So just to give you an overview of the value that we are trying to create for the members who are industry employed. This is something new that Indo-Australia Chambers of Commerce. So Indo-Australia Chambers of Commerce is basically a body. It's a body which uh, brings businesses from both the countries on the table, and then you can evaluate, assess the requirements, and uh, can take the benefit out of it. So CPA Australia become a member of Indo-Australia IACC, in short we call it, Indo-Australia Chambers of Commerce, somewhere in February when they launched their financial leadership forum. So we were the first ones to, we have been onboarded as a member of Indo-Australia Chambers of Commerce. A quick glimpse of the member networking events that we have conducted, all over India. And just to give you an idea. So since you all are chartered accountants today, I'm sure a lot of you are looking forward to World Forum of Accountants that is happening in Delhi. And CPA is one of the proud partners with the Indian Institute of Chartered Accountants. And you will see us there and our whole team at our stall. And we invite you to meet us over there in World Forum of Accountants. So we will be there for all 3 days, I guess. It's for 3 days. So we will be there along with all our leadership team. It's a full leadership team, including our CEO, president, chief learning officer, chief member experience. So a lot of delegates from Australia are coming into India and looking at, meeting all the members that we have. Now comes the main part, become a CPA under mutual recognition agreement with ICI. So if you look at overall CPA Australia subject, it comprises of 10 subjects. It's like, in CA, we have 3 levels. In CPA Australia, we have 2 levels, foundation and main CPA program. In foundation, there are 4 subjects. In main CPA program, there are 6 subjects. As a chartered accountant, you get exempted in the 9 subjects out of 10 subjects as listed in front of you. And that's where I said when I, initiated the presentation that there were like almost 80-85% similarities between the qualification and everything. The only subject or the only area or the only domain that we could figure out is really important is strategy and leadership area. So global strategy and leadership is a very interesting subject. I will not delve much into it. We have our expert Aalap who will talk about it. But global strategy and leadership is the subject that needs to be completed, and that's the only subject from the CPA program. So if you look at the overall requirement for Indian chartered accountants in order to become a CPA Australia, it only requires you to complete the subject global strategy and leadership and an online module. We call it a CPD module, as I think in CA, the way you complete your CPE hours, it's a CPD module, which is continuous professional development module. I think in CA, you call it continuous professional education. So it's just an online module that you can complete at your home itself, at your own pace. So the only main subject which needs to be completed is global strategy and leadership. I have, in my previous slide, I have also talked about the taxation subject. So that is not a requirement under MRA with ICI, but we have seen a lot of members pick that up additionally in order to build their taxation knowledge of Australia. So anybody who want to, learn about the Australia taxation, not only Australia taxation, CPA Australia also offers subjects in Hong Kong taxation, Singapore taxation, Malaysia taxation, New Zealand taxation, Australia taxation is there. So, I mean, depending on the vision that you have probably for your business, for your practice, you can pick up the subjects in order to learn the skill or the tricks of the trade. Very simple process. Submit your documents, get assessment outcome, activate associate membership, enroll for the subject, pass the exam, attain the CPA status. So all this can happen within by May or June itself. There is one step which is not there, which is preliminary verification of the documents. So our team in India, we support the members who are filing the application in order to conduct a preliminary verification of the application. A lot of time members feel that, oh, if I'm using this, is there a cost involved in it? No, it's no cost. So in fact, the documents that you will share with us, the team will go through it completely. If there is anything that requires to be resubmitted, they will let you know in time. So you submit your document, get your assessment outcome in 10 to 15 days. Once you get your assessment outcome, you activate yourself as an associate member. So here comes the global strategy and leadership. I'll just give you an overview. So if you look at the overall, module, it comprises of 7 modules, 7 chapters, as we call it. So, and start with the introduction of the strategy and finally leading the strategy. But I will not delve into it. We have an expert with us. So I will stop here. I will request Aalap to share his insights. So Aalap, do you want me to pull that slide? You want to put your own like?
Yeah, that would be great. I've got my own presentation, so I'd like to share that.
Over to you, Alap.
Okay, thank you very much. Can you all see the screen? Can you all see my
Yes.
presentation? Perfect. All right. So as Bhavishya said, it's one of the only subjects that you got to do in order to become a CPA Australia member, which unfortunately I could not enjoy that benefit because I'm not, an ICAI member. So I had to unfortunately do about 16 subjects back in the day when I did my CPA in 2015. So it was a long journey. But this subject is one of the most interesting ones. The reason I say that is not just once, multifold. Uh, the learnings from this subject can be applied in your day-to-day work life and up to an extent personal life as well. All right. So it's the capstone subject of the program. It essentially builds on the common knowledge that all of us would have from ethics and governance, financial reporting, strategic management, accounting. As a chartered accountant, you would have been exposed to these things while studying and obviously in your day-to-day working life as well. So it essentially consolidates all the knowledge that you already have, but it builds on it. So that's your foundational knowledge that you already have. It builds on it. Now, why the subject's important, why you don't get an exemption? One of the main reasons is our profession's changed. As an accountant, you don't no longer do debits or credits and stuff like that. So globally, we are perceived as value drivers in any organization. It could be any of your clients, if you're practicing chartered accountant, or if you're working in the industry, your employer. That's what we are looked upon as. We drive the value wherever we go. Okay. And in order to drive value, you need to first provide value. And in order to provide value, you need to strategize. And that's what the subject teaches us. All right. So in essence, globally, the world's changed. It's no longer isolated silos. The way I explain it, it's very complex. COVID-19 proved how connected we are globally. And a problem originating in one country can very, very quickly become a global issue, which taught us that we are all very, very interconnected and the world is fast changing and very, very competitive. And in order to drive value in such an such a global, uh, competitive, fast changing environment, we need to strategize. So in essence, global strategy and leadership's got two primary aims. One is to provide the candidates an understanding of the concepts and the principles on first how to strategize and how to be an effective leader in a globalized economy, and to be able to apply whatever theoretical concepts you learn in the book to real life case scenarios, which essentially is your client. No two clients are same. If you're practicing CA, you would know two clients are never same. So you can apply the theory that you have learned to any of your clients. And as I mentioned earlier, it kind of consolidates your basic theoretical knowledge on ethics, financial reporting, and SMA. Now, most important part is the subject's got 7 learning outcomes. First is it would help you understand the role of an accountant in all aspects of strategy for an organization. Second, the subject teaches you certain tools and models to analyze the industry and the market in which a particular organization operates. Third is to measure the performance of the organization, again, by exposing you guys to certain analytical tools and models to measure how the organization is performing internally. The subject also teaches you effective decision making. Now, this is important because we all make decisions every day. Unconscious decisions, subconscious decisions, and conscious decisions as well. The subject kind of puts a face to the subconscious and unconscious decision making. So it gives you a good decision making model as well. The fifth learning outcome is to identify and explain challenges faced when you implement a strategy. So you can do a lot of good work on paper, but when you face the reality, generally reality is difficult. And when you implement something, you're bringing in a change and it's very, very difficult to manage that. So the subject teaches you certain models and certain ways to measure how you're traveling when you're implementing a strategy, and also how to mitigate the challenges and the risks when you are actually making a change. And the sixth outcome is to consolidate the understanding of strategy and leadership concepts. And finally, apply whatever you learn in real world scenario. Okay, so broadly, 7 learning outcomes. And what I'm going to do in the next slide is kind of give you an overview of the entire subject textbook, as in India it's called. We call it the study guide in Australia. So this essentially is an overview of what you are going to be exposed when you look at global strategy and leadership as a subject. So at the first module, you get an introduction of what strategy is and what certain type of leadership roles are. And as a leader, we wear multiple caps. So what are those caps and when are they suitable? So that's just an introductory chapter 1. Then this is where the real strategy and analysis begins. So I call it step 1 of strategic analysis process, where you're exposed to understanding the external environment, external meaning everything that the organization cannot control, which is the industry and the market and the competition, right? So at step 1, you are exposed to how to analyze the external environment, something that influences the organization's strategy on a day-to-day basis, but the organization's got no control over it. Okay, so that's step 1. At step 2, we look at what the organization's doing itself. So we look at internal environment. So we use certain tools and models to analyze how the organization is performing vis-a-vis on what it actually wants to perform. Okay, so we do that. Once we have the learning of external and internal environment, we take all our consolidated knowledge and then move on to step number 3, which essentially is various options that the organization has if it wants to grow in a globalized economy. Okay, so whether it's launching a new product or service, or whether to target a new market segment, for example, what are various options and how can an organization choose what it wants to do? So that's something that comes at step number 3. Once the organization decides on what it wants to do, which option it wants to pursue, then comes the next step, which is step number 4 on actual development of strategy. So if you want to pursue a certain option, how are you going to do it? What resources are you going to use? All those things come in at step number 4 when you develop a strategy on paper. Now, on paper, you have got a very good strategy. You need to implement it if you want to achieve what you want to achieve. That is step 5, implementation of strategy. So you need to implement certain things. You need to monitor how you're traveling in your implementation journey. There are going to be challenges. There are going to be risks. All those things are taken care of at step number 5. And the last module essentially introduces us to emerging business models and what strategy and leadership needs to follow in order to mitigate the emerging business models. For example, Uber came in and disrupted the entire global taxi industry. Right? So disruption is very normal nowadays, and how to look after your own organization and how to strategize to mitigate the disruption that is likely to happen in your industry. So in essence, in a nutshell, this is what your textbook contains. Now, the reason this figure is important is because whatever learnings you take out from this book, it is essentially taken wherever you go. If you're working in the industry, if you're going to change your job, the learnings are going to stay with you. So the skills and the learnings that you're going to get out of this subject are transferable. Wherever you go, you're going to be able to implement those learnings. Now, what I'm going to show you is likely exam format for the subject. It's pretty straightforward. There are 3 sections in the exam. The first section, section A, contains 52 multiple choice questions, 1 mark each. The second section is 16 marks, 16 MCQs. Again, one question, 1 mark. But this times you're going to get 4 short case studies. All right. So each case study would have 4 MCQs associated with it. 4 times 4 is 16. So you're going to get 16 MCQs, 1 mark each. And then comes section C. Several extended response questions are going to be asked, where you're going to have one case study shown to you on your screen, and there would be certain questions associated with that case study, and you're expected to type a response. Okay, that's 12 marks. So all in all, it's 80 marks. Okay. Now, if you look at 80 marks, open book exam, it feels, well, it's breeze. Anyone can pass. But the catch is that you got to apply the theory. You're not going to get asked a straightforward theory, and which is where CPA Australia also provides you with a lot of learning material and assistance where you can practice the theory and apply the theory to certain case facts. So all that is provided with your registration as well. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is just break apart the 7 modules that I introduced earlier. So the first one is introduction. CPA recommends you got to spend 10% time. Then external environment analysis, 15% of your time throughout the semester. Internal environment, 15% of the time. Various options for growth, again, 15% of the time. Development of strategy, 15%. Strategy implementation, 15%. And emerging business models, 15%. All up 100%. Right? So if you look at it, the book is equally weighted as well. Okay, so all the topics are important. Okay, and that's where I always say, and I always tell my students, do not underestimate the time it will take to complete the subject, because though it's theory, you may read it, but application is the key to pass. Okay, now why CPA? As Bhavishya mentioned in his slide, that we've got so many members throughout the globe. Why is it important to have such a qualification? I'll give you my career graph, and that might help you decide whether you want to pursue such a profession or not. So in my professional career over 20 years in Australia, before becoming a CPA, I was an internal auditor in one of the telecom companies, and getting a promotion, climbing up the ladder was pretty difficult. Right? But once I got my CPA Australia designation, it was pretty easy for me to navigate the career path, climb up the ladder. So I became an executive with the Australian Taxation Office, which is essentially our income tax department here in India. And then I was promoted, and I was leading teams in money laundering and crime prevention. Back in the day, we had the Syrian crisis. So I was making sure that there's no money laundering and terrorism financing happening. Then I got a promotion with the federal police, and then again further promotion with the SEBI equivalent of Australia, making sure that we don't end up getting Vijay Malias of sort. Let me put it that way. We were trying to make sure that we don't get that problems in Australia. And after moving back in India, my qualifications has helped me to lead an organization. And as Neha introduced me, I am a CEO currently of a manufacturing entity, and we service India, Middle East, and APAC. So that's pretty much it from me. If you have any questions, you can reach out to Bhavishya, or you can reach out to me as well in relation to the subject. But thank you very much, and I'm happy to answer any queries anyone has.
Thank you, Alap. Thank you so much. That's really an interesting and very deep understanding on the subject, global strategy and leadership in itself. What I can do is I have a few more slides. I'm sure the members present today would want to know about the time investment, the financial investment about the program and all. So just give me a moment. I'll just put my slide back once again. So I think this is something that we have already talked about. Alap has shared a lot of insights into it. So the examination mode for global strategy and leadership is online proctored at the test center. And general preparation time, as we have seen, is like for 3 months, 10 to 15 hours a week. Pattern, Alap has already shared about the pattern, MCQ based, extended responses questions that you might have to write. Enrollment period has already started. So anybody, that's the reason that when I started the presentation, I said that it's the most apt time. And that's where, when Rishabh and we collaborated, we thought that it is important for us to conduct a session as early as possible. If anybody is looking at completing the subject, or attaining a CPA by next year itself, the examination will be held in the month of April. There is a window of 15 to 20 days in April, in which you can choose your own date, time slot, and place. Minimum threshold is 60% for the subject. Study support. We are very proud of the study support that we provide as a professional body to our members. So Alap has shared a lot of insights into it. So you will receive weekly recorded webinars. You can connect with the fellow members. You can understand from their learning styles. You will get mid and end semester practice exams so that you can get the flavor of the main exam itself. How does the main exam look like? Better practice in governance and accountability. The CPD module that I talked about, 40 multiple choice questions, you can give whenever you are ready from your home itself. As far as the documents are concerned, so being a chartered accountant, you first and foremost, the most important document is the good standing certificate or letter of good standing, which you can apply from your self-service portal. There are three important conditions in order to obtain a good standing certificate: that you have been an active member, paying your annual membership fees regularly. You have no disciplinary action or inquiry pending against you. And most importantly, and I think this is something that we have seen, that a lot of CA members, they need to complete this. This is called as CPE hours. So a lot of CA members need to complete. I can see a smile on Neha's face. So, so we find a lot of challenges, that members are not able to obtain their good standing certificate because CPE hours are pending. I believe recently there has been some change in terms of completion of CPE hours. Please go to your ICI website, check the CPE hours. There are different requirements for industry employed chartered accountants, which is easier, I believe. And for practicing chartered accountants, in order to maintain your COP, there are different kind of requirements. Do dive into the CPE portal now and check your CPE requirements. Along with the good standing certificate, we would also. You want to say something, Neha?
Yes, yes, yes. Just to give a little bit more knowledge to our members. So, are you is this requirement of CP hour completion only for the year in which they are applying, or it has to be seen for a number of years? Or
You are asking me a question?
yes, yes, yes.
I think, as far as I understand, there was some 3 years rolling period completion of CP hours requirement, but I feel it has been changed recently, but that you need to check on the CPE portal of ICAI. Uh, what we require is the good standing certificate, but for that, your CPE portal has to have all the requirements fulfilled.
Yeah. Can I say something, Bhavishya, here?
Yeah,
Yes.
please, Priyanka.
Yeah. So now the process is you need to have for the current year CPERs. If you are a COP holder, then you need to require a 20 structure and 20 unstructured for the particular year. And in case if you are a working professional, then either it has to be 20 or structure or unstructured doesn't matter. So it is for the current year what they're looking forward for at the moment. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Priyanka. So in addition to the good standing certificate, we would require mark sheets of all the levels: CPT, IPCC, all the groups, final, all the groups, and final exam passing certificate, and Bachelor's of Commerce degree. So CPA Australia program sits above the bachelor's level. Generally we have seen that in during my study days, I would say, I have seen that a lot of my friends, embarked upon becoming a chartered accountant immediately after 12th standard. and a lot of them within a span of 4, 5, 6 years attain the chartered accountancy designation. A lot of you may have completed your graduation, a lot of you doesn't. And I mean, being a CA, I don't know how much it matters, but you are a chartered accountant in India. But when it comes to CPA Australia, you need to produce Bachelor's of Commerce degree and all the 3 or 6 year mark sheets with us, regardless of full-time, part-time, correspondence does not matter. But as per the Australian qualification framework, it has to be 3 years full, 3 years degree with all the 3 years mark sheet or 6 semester mark sheets. In case, let's say that if you do not have a graduation documents, or if you have completed your graduation under MPA with Indira Gandhi National Open University, there is a, I think, pathway agreement with the Indira Gandhi National Open University. If you have completed your graduation from there, we would recommend you to go for 5 years of work experience, because under AQF, Australian Qualification Framework, you only get 1 year. It's I think under MPA, it's a 1 year degree with IGNU. So you have to submit the 3 years proof of bachelor's. In case if you do not have that, you can submit 5 years of work experience instead of bachelor's documents. So 5 years of work experience, because of our mutual recognition agreement with ICI, generally CPA Australia does not consider internships. But when it comes to our mutual recognition agreement with ICI, I'm happy to share that we do consider the internship, or you call it an article, articleship period of 3 years that you complete. So you can produce your articleship completion letter plus 2 years of work experience documents. So these are the work experience documents that we look for. In case if you are an industry employed, we would require on the statement of the letterhead of the company, we would require a statement of service that should have your name, your position, the tenure in the organization, and most importantly, the roles and responsibilities or the main duties of the positions held. Similarly, for practicing chartered accountants, does not matter even if it's a partnership firm or a sole proprietorship, you need to submit certificate of practice, and on the letterhead of the organization, you can submit the job duties signed by the senior partner and include the services that you have, and include 2 testimonials from the clients that you are serving. So need not to worry, my team can support you with testimonial, work, the document that we have. Now comes the main part. So all the members who have registered for this session, there is an initial application fees of 200 Australian dollars. We are happy to extend a 100% waiver. The moment you will share the documents with the team, the team will assign a promo code on your name and will help you with getting the 100% waiver of 200 Australian dollars. Once you receive your outcome within a span of 10 to 15 days, the associate membership fees is 354 Australian dollars. So Australian dollar is around 55 rupees. And the global strategy and leadership actual fees is 1558. The early bird discount is 1382, around 176 Australian dollars discount. And better practice in governance and accountability is 400 Australian dollars. But generally, we get sometimes a window of 50%, 30% discount coupons on better practice in governance and accountability, and we extend that to our members who have completed their global strategy and leadership. So that's the overall fees. Since you are getting exemptions in almost 9 subjects, your overall fees comes down by almost 80-85%. Your overall study investment, time investment into the program also comes down by almost 60, 65, 70%, since you only need to do or complete one subject. And here's one of the important thing that CPA Australia launched around 2 years back, which is called as Members Connect Portal. The moment you will become an associate member, we call it a kind of a professional media platform exclusive to CPA Australia members. We have around 35,000 members on this platform spanning across the globe. By virtue of being an Australian body, around 55-60% of our members are based out of Australia. A lot of them, I think, hold CPA firms also there. So you can reach out to them, understand their requirements, and find out some common grounds that you can build your business upon. So this is so when I mentioned that, initially one of the most important thing that we offer to our members is not only the qualification, but also a platform, be it, and it's a networking is a continuous thing, we believe. So you need not to wait for any events to happen. You can build your own networking skills. You can, join hands with the fellow CPA members across the globe through this platform itself. So this is it from our side. This is our organization's email ID and phone numbers. Anybody who would want to reach out to us can reach out to us. Send your documents. We will assess your documents and we'll get back to you. Else, through Voice of CA itself, since that organization, we have collaborated for this session. Through Voice of CA, we would also suggest you to have you must have registered with them. So we are collaborating with them and we will reach out through them to you. So over to you, Neha.
Thanks, Bhavishya. Thanks, Aalap. There has been two questions around the same topic. That is, how can they start the registration process or the enrollment process? So if you could just maybe take 2 minutes to tell a little bit about it.
Vanshika, you want to answer that?
Yeah, sure. So to initiating the process, first you check with your CPE hours and apply for the good standing certificate. As mentioned by Priyanka Talwar, that for practicing chartered accountants, 20 unstructured and structured CPE hours are the requirement. And for working professionals who are non-COP holders, 20 unstructured CPE hours are the requirement. Then I have already posted the required document list in the chat box. You all can go through it. Like, we require your CA all level mark sheets along with your graduation all level mark sheets and degree certificate. So I have also, like Priyanka Talwar has also posted our email ID. You all can share your documents there so that we can start the preliminary verification of your documents. Yes.
Thanks, Vanshika. Thanks. Shall we go ahead and take the Q&A box?
Absolutely.
Okay, so one of the attendees is asking which has more scope, CPA Australia or CPA USA? Uh, I don't think this is the right webinar to ask this question.
No, I would love to answer this. That's
Please go ahead.
totally, yeah. So see, we never persuade anyone to pursue CPA Australia program. You know why I'm saying this is because around a month back, we went to an organization which we onboarded as our corporate partner or recognized employer partner. The interesting part was that that organization was full-time into US. I will be very honest with everyone in the webinar today. So that organization is full-time into US outsourcing work and, have quite deep roots in US market when it comes to outsourcing. And I had a similar question with them that, what brings them on board with CPA Australia or looking at Australia as a market. The thing that they shared was, and it was the word from someone who has been in more than a decade has been serving the US market. The word that we heard from him was somewhere they feel that US market seems to be quite flooded with a lot of outsourcing firms from various organizations who are reaching out to the who are looking at pursuing or looking at the business opportunities from there. So but it totally depends on oneself. uh, the what we can say is that the way India and Australia have been strengthening their bilateral relationships since past 2 or 3 years, and one such outcome that is front in all of us is the ACTA, which is Economic Cooperation Trade Agreement Act or Free Trade Agreement that Act that has happened, and we have seen a lot of Australian firms are opening their centers in India, or be it NAB, be it ANZ. 3 months back, while I was with one of the country heads of Australia New Zealand Bank, we were surprised to hear that in ANZ there are 8 to 9,000 people who are working. So from the business standpoint, I think it is on oneself, and being a chartered accountant, being a part of one of the most reputed, most intelligent fraternity in accounting field in India, I think you can evaluate the options, the chances, what brings you, what should bring you towards the US market. becoming a CPA Australia or CPA US. So it totally depends on oneself.
Thank you. Sagarji, you have raised your hand. If you would like to unmute yourself and ask your question, please go ahead. Sagarji, please unmute yourself if you have a question. In the meanwhile, we can take the next question in the Q&A box. Pankaj is asking, what would be the fees for a member of ICAI?
So, Neha, I would like to answer this. Mr. Pankaj, just wanted to update you that we have a different pathways here. So now I wanted to understand what is your experience in case if your experience is plus 5 years, then there is a route we have it called an experience-based pathway, and based on your qualification and experience, you can gain the exemptions based in the program. In case if you does not have any experience, however, you are only holding up the qualification, we can look at your profile and share with you what are the best possible of giving you the exemptions on it. So we can connect maybe next week to understand your profile, and we'll be able to help you in terms of how you can go ahead with a non-CA as a member with us. Thank you.
Thank you, Priyanka. Moving on. Another attendee is asking, can we establish our practice by opening a physical office in Australia once we become CPA Australia? If we have to go through the PR route for that, or what can be the other requirements to be adhered to open a physical office in Australia?
See, one of the most important thing that we need to keep in mind is that uh, under the ruling of IFAC, uh, this is something that we know as far as a year last year concerned, if there has been no change in the ruling. But under the ruling of IFAC, I don't think that you can hold the practicing certificate of more than one body. So first of all, that you need to, understand this. Secondly, in order to attain a practicing certificate, uh, first of all, the first and foremost requirement is to become a CPA Australia. And post that, I'm happy that we have Babita with us, who is one of our experts. So under that, once you attain the CPA Australia designation, you can go in for practicing certificate. Babita, can you throw some light on attaining a, some quick?
Okay. So public practice certificate is something you can obtain by doing the public practice program. So the program has got 5 e-learning modules, and apart from that, one need to attend a workshop for completing this program successfully. Best part is that you don't have to go to Australia to complete this public practice program. But you need to meet some regulatory requirements. One of you apply for the public practice certificate and to set up your firm over there. For that, you can check with the local regulators over there. But as a chartered accountant, when you enroll into the CPA Australia program, since you are studying only one subject, global strategy and leadership, and one compulsory online module, there are 2 components which is missing in your learning, which is Australia taxation and company law. So before entering into the public practice program, you need to do these 2 subjects separately. And once you complete this, then only it makes you eligible to enter into the public practice program. The program duration is not too much. One can finish it within a year's duration and then obtain the public practice certificate to start their practice. But usually what I say to everyone, like if you're looking at setting up your firm in Australia, one should actually attain some experience in Australian soil. Go there, learn the tricks and trades like you have learned over here in India, and then start your practicing firm over there, which definitely requires some time because you need to build on the network to have your businesses for the firm over there. And within that also we have some conditions as per the regulatory norms, like in terms of the criteria of having the uh, practicing certificate, public practicing certificate. It can be partial or the full practice certificate. And if your annual earnings are less than 10,000 Australian dollar, then you don't require the public practice certificate. So once you're ready and complete the program, definitely you will able to start your journey for this public practice certificate. I hope that's clarifies.
Yes, yes. Thank you. Moving on. I heard that after qualifying, annual renewal fees is around 45,000. Is it mandatory to pay? If yes, what are the consequences if we not pay because it is too much for an Indian member?
So I agree there is an annual membership fee which you need to pay, and this is a part of any of the professional qualification which you require to maintain as a member. And repercussions are same as it with ICI. You are actually no longer technically allowed to use the designation. And secondly, whenever you want to go back and restart with your membership, you need to pay the like all the previous year's fees also. So we always encourage take the benefit of being a member of CPA Australia and continue with your membership and just take the advantage of having the global qualification.
Alap, you have anything to say around it?
Look, in my experience, I've been a member now for 10 years. I would treat this CPA fees as an investment rather than an expense. If you know what I mean in terms of an accountant, uh, if we put it in a balance sheet term, it's like an asset that you're investing in rather than incurring an expenditure going out of your revenue. So look, obviously there would be questions around, there's so much of investment. What do I get out of it? There is always an ROI. It depends on your skills, your network, and how you can influence that and to your own benefit. It's pretty much like ICAI. You pay your
I think we have lost Alap.
Yeah.
pretty much like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
But it's going to be higher, but there's always a benefit in continuing your membership, as I've always experienced as well in the last 10 years.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ella, for adding this. Yeah.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Snehil is asking, how can it benefit a practicing CA in growing outsourcing practice out from India? So if somebody is doing an outsourcing or an offshoring in an offshoring model, is it going to help CP Australia degree?
See, one thing we have seen, and I would invite other team members to answer this as well. But something that we have seen is that when you are reaching out to a client from some other countries, somewhere your trust and credibility is something that bring on the table along with the designation or the qualification of that particular country. And I'm sure, for example, Australia or any other country, certifications of any other country, why you would want to pursue? Because when you're sitting in front of a client and you're looking at, growing your business, connecting with the clients of that country, broadly speaking, holistically speaking, the designation helps you to cross that first hurdle or first barrier. And this is not for only the individual. We are surprised that since past 2 years, when we started collaborating with the organizations, today, uh, probably in next 10 or 15 days, for example, we are going to onboard Ernst& Young as our recognized employer partner in India itself. And we are very proud of it. And soon we are going to onboard some more organization in the similar space. So yes, the designation absolutely helps in terms of getting that first hurdle cross. The knowledge that you gain, I'm sure you are already a chartered accountant, you are cream when it comes to finance and accounting domain. But this is something that helps you pass through that. Anybody else want to add something?
If I can just add a
Yeah,
couple
yes.
of points there. Look, most of the chartered accountants would want to explore the outsourcing side, and it's pretty lucrative. Bhavishya mentioned the free trade agreement between both the governments, India and Australia. So there's a lot of work coming in to India from Australia. As Bhavishya introduced the Members Connect portal, so it essentially connects you to all the CPA Australia members globally, not just within Australia. So, you have an avenue to connect with other people who are looking for to outsource their back office or outsource tax work to India. So there is a lot of scope there as well. So once you become a member, you have access to that as well. So just remember that.
Thank you. Moving on to the next question. Vidya Sagarji is asking, as of now, I'm practicing in GST, that is the indirect taxation from last 3 years. So how challenging is it to complete CPA Australia in the next 6 months or 1 year? Also, how are the job opportunities in Australia immediately after qualifying CPA? And what are the ways to secure a job in Australia?
I think first question Aalap can answer.
Okay, so how challenging it is to complete the CPA Australia in the next 6 months to a year. Look, as I mentioned in my presentation, the subject itself is a little bit challenging because it tests you an application of theory. So it depends on how much input you give in and how you prepare for the subject. CPA Australia is there to assist you in that journey. If you want, I can kind of touch on the second question as well, how the job opportunities in Australia immediately after qualifying. Look, if I can answer that in India's perspective, if you are a chartered accountant or just a simply qualified MCOM, what job opportunities and how your resume would look like. Just compare that and put that in Australians' perspective as well. If you're just a normal degree qualified and versus a CPA qualified person, your resume would look much better if you have a professional degree on it. So, um, you know, mm, obviously, then the rest is on your skills, on how you crack the interview and so forth. But yes, it does add value on the qualification, definitely.
Just to add here, Vidya Sagar ji, as we have mentioned it in all our webinars and seminars, uh, काम तो हम अपने network से ही लेके आते हैं. So that is true for any professional in any corner of the world. काम तो हमारे फ्रेंड्स, हमारे रिलेटिव्स, हमारे कोलीग्स, हमारे कनेक्ट्स ही देंगे. And the network that we make by meeting people in newer networking meets and other avenues जैसे हम मिल पा रहे हैं. And of course, Alap has already mentioned the Members Connect portal. A similar Members Connect portal, ICAI is also launching. So and that would also be catering to CA members across the globe. A similar concept. And I think such networking platforms and such networking meets like BOFA that is coming up in January, that creates a better platform, I think, for generating the network. Moving on to Pankajji's question.
Neha,
So what I understand from
Uh,
the crux, yes, please go ahead.
So we will take last two questions because we are already ahead of for this meeting.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, there's
Yeah.
only one question left. Bhavisha, would you like to say something?
Yeah. I just wanted to say that you completely nailed it when it comes to network because I remember once a very senior leader told me that, you meet a client in their office, but you sign a business deal on a dinner table. So it's the network that you build, and that's where we thrive on in terms of creating those networking opportunities and building right set of people under the roof.
Thank you, Bhavishya. Just taking up the last question, Pankaj is asking, what I understand from the question is that what kind of business is there for CPAs in Australia, as in the corporate sector, he's trying to ask, because he's trying to compare it with the USA, saying that return filing is an automatic process over there. And there are fewer corporates in Australia. So what kind of scope of work in the corporate sector is there for CPAs?
You want me to go ahead and
Yes.
answer that,
Yes,
Bhavisha?
yes.
All right. So in Australia, a lot of people file their own returns as well. Individuals I'm talking about. Okay. If your next question is kind of linked with your first question where you're saying as Nifty index and NASDAQ, you could not find any Australian index. So if you do a search on Google ASX, Australian Stock Exchange, there is definitely an exchange there. A lot of large corporates are there on the Australian Stock Exchange. A lot of corporates are there who need CPA. Like I said in my presentation, CPAs are no longer just there to file the returns. Most of the people do it themselves individually. We also don't look at it from a point of view of tax advice. That is one scope within our broadest practice sphere. We are value drivers. We are looked upon as helping the boards and the chairperson to make right decisions for the shareholders. And that's essentially what our profession is, if I may add to that. So it's no different in Australia as well. That's what people are going to come to you and ask for your advice. If I can say in Hindi, मुझे ये करना है, should I do that? मुझे ये नहीं करना है, मैं नहीं करूं. So things like that are going to be popped out to you if you are a practicing CPA. I get those questions quite a lot. And that's essentially where the scope of services is, if I've answered that question.
Yes.
Thank you, Aalap.
Thank you. So yes, yeah, that's it. That's it for the questions. We have answered all the questions. The Q&A box is empty. There are no other questions in the chat box also. Thank you all, the entire panel, for taking up the time and answering all the questions for our participants, and for joining us today on such a short notice. And I hope that we can keep this association going and organize more and more value-adding webinars or seminars for our members. So yes, would anybody would like to give a concluding note?
Yeah.
Yes.
So I would like to thank you to Voice of CA for organizing this session and inviting the good number of people in a very short notice. So thank you to Rishabh and Neha, both of you. You have done a wonderful job in terms of raising the voice for CA and bringing the CA community together. And it is a very good session, though I was not able to be the part of the full session because of the other meeting which was ongoing. And Bhavishya and Aalap, do you want to add something?
First, let you go, Alap.
No, you go ahead if you want to. I just wanted to say a couple of things, but you go ahead first.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, everyone. We were not expecting, almost 90, 100 people joining in on Friday evening. That's really interesting. So, absolutely kudos to Rishabh and Neha and the Voice of CA team. Thank you so much for bringing everyone, under this online roof and giving us a chance to meet, explain about the CPA program, the mutual recognition agreement. And since the enrollments have already started and we are underway, we are left with, I think we need to enroll into the subject before 10th of January so that we can avail the early bird discounted fees for the examination. So all those people who are looking at enrolling for the subject, going in for CPA program, please, as Vanshika has mentioned, that you need to obtain your good standing certificate, first of all. Gather all the documents, share it with us over an email, and we will do a preliminary verification. Over to you, Ala. Thank you.
I just wanted to thank Team Voice of CA and also Team CPA Australia in Delhi for having me here. It was a wonderful session, and it was good to connect with close to 100 people virtually on a Friday evening. And if I can get your email, I'm happy to share my presentation so that you can share it with the members who attended, who might find it helpful. Thank you once again, and hope everybody have a good weekend.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. We'll be uploading this session tomorrow on Voice of CA's YouTube channel. So anybody who has missed the starting can attend over there, or miss the end can attend it over there, or review it whenever they want to. And do follow Voice of CA on any of the social media platforms that you're using so that you can be updated about any of the upcoming programs that we are doing, whether it is physically or online. And of course, through and all our professional updates as well. We'll be sharing Aalap's PPT in the mail to all the members members who have attended today, as well as to all the other subscribers, and Bhavishya's PPT as well, if he's comfortable sharing it with us. Thank you all for attending today, and thank you all the panelists for joining us today. We'll conclude the session now. Head office, kindly conclude.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.